could join us. My name is Susan Fries, and I am the president of the Middle Tennessee chapter. And I have been involved with the chapter ever since its beginning. And I like to think of it as I was there during its infancy. And I picked it up as chapter president at the toddler age through grammar school, and then Peggy Mitchell, she picked it up in high school and college, and now we're back to young adulthood, and I've picked it up again. So that's kind of where our local chapter has been as far as leading it over these years. The chapter meaning to me is it means a lot to me, and that's one of the reasons that I continue. I am the only person in my family who has a vision impairment, and I didn't know about it until my doctor told me many years ago when I was first diagnosed in my early 20s. Actually, that was just 5 years ago, wink, wink. But anyway, so it means a lot to me. I've met a lot of wonderful, wonderful people and friends over the years, and we can all relate to each other. We plan on meeting quarterly, and our topics will be education, resources, and fundraising or revenue during our meetings. And currently, we're having to meet via Zoom because of COVID. Hopefully, here before long, we'll be able to meet in person. But saying that, we will continue to be able to meet virtually, have a virtual option for those who can't meet with us in person. And let's see here. We are looking for some key volunteers for leadership, and I will let Renee speak more on that. And speaking of Renee, I'm going to turn it over to her. And FFB is fortunate to have her. She is our Director of Chapter Engagement, and she is a godsend and has been wonderful to me over the last couple of months in getting to know her. Renee?
Thank you so much, Susan. I'll have to send you that $20 bill for that introduction. Thank you.
Hey, actually, just make a donation to my walk team. Okay.
There you go. There you go. I'll make sure I do that. I will make sure I do that. Thank you. That's a good reminder. Good reminder. Yes, I joined the Foundation Fighting Blindness back in October, and I came on board as the Director of Chapter Engagement. We're really fortunate to be building a team of chapter engagement managers throughout the country. I've spent, like Susan, I'm 25, wink, wink, but I've spent over 25 years in nonprofit management. I spent the bulk of my career doing work with the American Diabetes Association across the country with their various chapters. So I'm so blessed to be here and working with each one of you as we really carve out what the next generation of chapters looks like. Much like Susan talked about, we've had so many iterations of chapters over the years. And in the last year, March of last year, we lost one of our co-founders, Luli Gund. Gordon Gunn's wife passed away, and Luli was really instrumental in the chapters and working with the local chapter in Princeton, New Jersey. Gordon realized that upon Luli's passing, that there really was a void created in that chapter, and that leadership and succession planning really needed to be something that was first and foremost. So Gordon invested several $1 million in our organization to roll out what we have now as Luli's next chapter for Light and Vision. And so in honor of Luli, what we want to do in each one of the chapters is have someone in place, just as Susan is doing, to really handle that leadership and a president role. But then we also want someone that is willing to serve in a vice president role. That vice president will be very instrumental in guiding the chapter as well, of course, operating in Susan's absence, but also to help nominate other leaders, to help bring other people into the fold, and also work as a chapter mentor. And I'll go into that in just a minute. We also want a chair of education, a chair of resources, and a chair of revenue. And so the chair of education will also really work in the professional education realm. Our chair of resources will help us identify local resources in Tennessee that are there for folks that have low vision and blindness. And then our revenue chair will be somebody that's really our great cheerleader, somebody who really can help us to move our chapter forward and help us to really give us that oomph that we need to work alongside someone like Trent, who's already working with our Vision Walk, who you'll hear from in just a few minutes. Those roles are really something that we'll be looking at as we build out the chapter. And maybe someone on this call is interested in one of those leadership roles. Maybe someone on this call is interested in serving on a committee. We'd love to talk to you about that as well. But as we build out the chapter, as Susan said, we'll be having 4 meetings a year. We want to really bring in some quality information for you. So really giving you something that is meaningful and something that you can walk away from and have learned a little bit about. And so tonight our speaker obviously is someone that we feel is just an amazing speaker that can give us some great information. And we hope to do that in each one of our quarterly meetings. I think one of the things that I mentioned earlier is that mentor program, and that's something that we hope each of you will take part in some way or another. So a mentor is someone who is willing to serve as a resource for another person. Perhaps they're newly diagnosed, or perhaps their vision is changing and they want to talk to someone. Perhaps someone's diagnosed and doesn't quite know how to navigate the resources that are available for them. And so we're going to be giving the mentors some orientation about some do's and don'ts and some of the resources that are available through our organization and others in the Middle Tennessee area. And then as a person who would like to be linked with a mentor, we'll be hooking those people up together and identifying people that might meet together. One of the most recent stories that I had was a young man who was 14, who his vision was failing due to Stargardt, and he really wanted to speak to another 14 or 15-year-old boy. And so, of course, kids today don't talk on the phone, they text. And so we figured out how to get them organized and texting one another, and it was a great resource. That wouldn't have been possible without the mom willing to serve as a mentor for that other young man. So just a really great story of success for us. So again, you'll hear more about our chapter. We're so blessed to have Susan on board, and we're so delighted that each one of you is here with us this evening. Susan?
Okay. I believe next on the agenda is Trent, who is actually...
I had to unmute myself first.
Okay, there he is.
All right, so everybody. So if you don't know me, my name is Trent Johnson. My wife and Shelly and I have been involved with the local national chapter a long time, more than probably 25 years. It's very little in the beginning, but more later on. We co-chaired the first and second Nashville Vision Walks, and then our oldest son, who is now 21, chaired one about 3 or 4 years ago as well. And so I agreed to do it again this year. Don't know how to say no, but oh well. So a little bit about my family and the foundation. My brother-in-law, Steve, who's in his early 50s, has RP, as do both of my children. One of them is a senior in college, and he's 21. That's Jacob. And then Lucas is a junior in high school. He's 17. And then my mother-in-law, even though the RP is X-linked RP, my mother-in-law has developed it late in her life. She's in her mid-70s, and it has impacted her greatly just the last 5 years. She's lost most of her vision the last 4 or 5 years. So, not always does, it's kind of odd that X-linked RP impacts females, but I think it's like a 3% chance. And unfortunately for her, she was one of those 3% who kind of impacted her late in life. But my oldest son was part of the AGTC clinical trial, gene therapy, and he got that surgery almost 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years next month in Dallas, Texas, at the Retina Foundation of the Southwest. And they did it in one eye. And after 2 years, all indications are that he has not lost any more vision in that eye, and he may have even gained a little back in that eye again, which is exciting, which is great news. And that's why Shelley and I have been so involved with the Foundation Fighting Blindness over the years, to try to help find a cure for all of us. But we were thrilled that Jacob has gotten that surgery. Lucas and I went back about 6 weeks ago. We were hoping the same surgery for him, but unfortunately, one of his eyes is a whole lot different than the other, and to get in the study, they had to be within a certain range. So he didn't qualify, but they're saying he's going to qualify for another similar trial within the next year. So hopefully he'll get that, and he will also be on the road to at least stopping the progression of the disease. So I know we would all love to reverse the vision loss, but with my children at 17 and 21, I'm one of those that, for them, if I could just stop and save what they have now, it'd be fantastic.
Right.
But like I said, about the vision walk, after doing this for a number of years, those of us who have been doing it year after year after year, it sometimes gets a little more challenging to go back to those same friends that you've asked for many years over and over and over again for donations. You'll always have some that will do it every single year, but you got to ask. If you don't ask, you don't know. And it's vital that we get new people involved and new people out there fundraising to help make this a successful vision walk. Our goal is $40,000 this year, which I think is a very attainable goal. We're at 3,000 now, but it's not till June, so we're 2 months away, and it's one of those things that the last 4 to 6 weeks is when it really starts building up. I just realized that I'm not yet registered, so I'm the guilty culprit there. So I was actually doing that while we're on the call here, and I'll start getting those emails sent out to our friends to make donations again this year. So when you go out to ask for donations, you got to make the story personal. I mean, quite honestly, you got to make it personal. You got to make them understand that the dollars that we raise for this is helping people like my son, who has had treatment to stop the progression of the disease. So it 20 or 25 years ago, when we were involved with this, and we had the regatta and a couple of little fundraisers for the Nashville chapter, there was just a whole lot of talk of hoping there might be something in the future. And in the last 5 years, there have been lots of progress made in finding actual treatments for RP and the other associated diseases. So, and without the money we've raised through the vision walks, a lot of that would not be possible. That clinical trial that both of my children are in, both Lucas, even though he didn't qualify for this trial, he's still in a study, and they pay for the trip to Dallas, they pay for our hotel, our food, all the treatment, all that is paid for free. And that's all because part of it's AGTC, but part of it also is the Foundation Fighting Blindness giving money to groups like AGTC to do these studies. So it makes it where everybody can possibly participate in a clinical trial like that. So the more money we raise, the more opportunities there are. I got a friend who works in that type of field, and he said, if you'd had the money the cancer had, you'd have found cures for RP 30 years ago. It's all about the money. It's all about the funding and the doctors and the researchers out there. So we got to keep that in mind. Get out there and start asking for the donations, make the story personal, and like I said, recruit others on your team to also share your story to others as well to help raise funds. And having a virtual vision walk, I think, is another hurdle. Quite honestly,
Mhm.
I'm an honest person. I'm not going to candy coat anything, but having a virtual vision walk does make it a little more challenging for people to get kind of excited about it. So you got to push yourself a little more, and you got to push your friends a little bit more sometimes to make sure that they are supporting this cause, which is so dear to all of us. That's all I got. Anybody got any questions? I'll be happy to answer anything. But if not, back to you, Susan.
Thanks, Trent. We appreciate it, and I appreciate all your and Shelley's and the boys' work over the years. I believe next on our list is our guest speaker, Douglas Walker. And I must say that I had the privilege of listening to Doug 3 years ago, it may have been, at the Visions Conference in San Diego. And I just thought he was a great speaker, and thought he would be wonderful for us to hear tonight and to tell us about Hadley. I'm going to read some information about him. I couldn't memorize it all, so I'm going to have to read it, okay? So he is a lifelong learner and educator, with a specialty in assistive technology for those with vision and visual impairment.
Okay.
He's taught in a wide variety of settings, from the Tennessee School for the Blind to West Tennessee as an itinerant educator/consultant, to Vanderbilt as an adjunct professor, to Hadley, heading up their assistive technology team. Most recently, he has assumed a leadership role in research and development at Hadley, developing new ways to engage and empower those facing vision loss. Walker holds a master's degree in education from Vanderbilt. And please forgive the slip-ups there.
That was way too much to remember. Sorry about that.
No, it's all true. So
all righty.
thank
Well,
you for
yeah, I
joining
think
us.
that it's hard to believe that that was like 3 years ago in San Diego. Goodness, COVID has not made time fly, though, I guess, in some ways, but it seems like time has flown. But all right, so what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and I'm going to share my screen because I have a presentation I want to show here. So let me click a couple of things. And I'll share here. And then we'll go there. Let me know if you can see.
We can see it.
Hang on just 1 second. All right. I see the screen
Yes.
here. Okay, cool. You're not seeing notes because I have notes that aren't showing for me right now. So you guys only see the screen that's up there, I guess. All right. So cool. So it's great to be with you guys. I want to thank you for having me. It's actually great to be back. It's been a while, but this is actually my second chat with the Nashville Foundation Fighting Blindness chapter. So it's been a long time, but I think I was there with, a lot of you guys know Paul Day. He and I came out. So, and I talked everything iPhone at the time, all of our iPhone stuff. That's when I headed the accessibility team at Hadley, I think. So I was all about the iPhone at the time and all the Apple technology. So, and I have presented, as Susan said, I've presented at the National Foundation Fighting Blind. I think I've presented 4 or 5 different times. So I've been doing the FFB thing for a while. I'm a huge fan of Foundation Fighting Blindness. So thank you, Susan and Renee. Thank you both for having me out tonight. Thank you everybody for showing up tonight and being a part of this. So, all right. So I think I'll start with sharing a little bit first about myself. And yes, that is me up there. I am the co-director, as Susan said, of research and development. So that means I'm responsible for coming up with new concepts and new content for Hadley and sort of driving the content through. I was diagnosed with low vision very early. I think I was, goodness, around 7 years old here. And it's a macular dystrophy. It's actually vitelliform dystrophy. It's very similar to macular degeneration because I have a central vision loss. It's actually called Best disease. If you're going to have an eye disease, it might as well be Best disease, right? I think Dr. Best discovered it. So I'm legally blind. I have really low vision, around 2700. So I use a combination of all kinds of screen readers and enlargement softwares, but it's a hidden disability. We talk about, it's not always obvious to people that are around. I know most all of you probably can really relate to having a hidden disability. So, when I travel about in long distances, I do use a white cane. And I do love my accessibility. I'm a big consumer of assisted technology. I actually live right here in Nashville. I'm married, and it just so happens that my wife is the other co-director of research and development at Hadley. She used to be the principal at the Tennessee School for the Blind and worked at Trevecca as an adjunct professor there. I have 3 daughters, and my daughters like to say that I see just enough to get myself in trouble, which is really true. So, because we know it can be stressful sometimes with a hidden disability, and we can all relate. Well, most people can relate to like going up to the wrong car and then realizing, uh-oh, I'm at the wrong car, right? But I've gone up to the wrong car. I've opened the car door. I've gotten in the wrong car with people in the car. So I've kind of gone to extreme, which is why it's a great idea that I use an identifier cane when that happens, so they don't think I'm just a crazy guy. I'm just a crazy blind guy at that point, right? So, all right, so that's enough about me. Let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about Hadley. So what is Hadley? Hadley is actually the largest educator of people with blindness worldwide. Everything Hadley does is distance ed. We're not a typical, what you think of a school for the blind that actually has students there. Everything we do is done remote and always has been done remote. Hadley's headquartered in Chicago, actually just outside of Chicago in a town called Winnetka, Illinois. Hadley was founded by a guy named William Hadley in 1920. Hadley started with 1 student. And at that time, correspondence schools were really, really popular in the 20s, and you did everything through the mail. Well, William Hadley decided to do Braille by mail. And that was really, really cutting edge at the time. And so, fast forward to now, 101 years later, in 2020, Hadley became 100 years old. And now we have, oh my goodness, more than 2,000 learners every month that visit our website. And we have learners from all 50 states and more than 100 countries. So we really are international. It's a super exciting time at Hadley because we did turn 100 years. We're going to have to celebrate a little late because of COVID. So we'll be celebrating more this year, but everything is changing at Hadley. Hadley used to be known for its online courses, and they were very much like page turner courses where you go sign up for a course, you'd read several pages, and you take a little quiz on what you learned, and then you'd read some more pages and you take another quiz, and then you got a certificate at the end of that. So over the last couple of years, Hadley has really changed its model of delivery in our product, which are now 5 to 10 minute short videos. So you get really small bites of information, and we sort of like to jokingly say we're the YouTube for people with low vision. So you get short information, exactly what you want to go to, and all kinds of resources to go with that. The best thing about Hadley is that Hadley is absolutely free of charge for everyone. So you can go right to our website, hadley.edu, and everything that you see there is absolutely free, which is big. We are a nonprofit, and live off of grants and donations and such. So that's a little bit about Hadley. So I want to dive in deep now and tell you all of Hadley's offerings. Hadley really has three main things that we offer. The first of these things is called our discussion groups. This is almost like a community, and these are communities for people with blindness and low vision. And these are all live and online events. And we like to call these learning communities. So most all of our discussion groups happen, they meet like once a month. We do have some that we meet weekly, but most of them meet once a month. We have a technology one called Tech It Out. There's usually around 50 to 100 people that attend our technology one. It's really, really popular. We have a gardening discussion group if you're really into gardening, a crafting discussion group, cooking discussion group, writers circle for writers. We even have Spanish and Braille, and there's probably some here that I'm missing, but all of our discussion groups use Zoom, just like we're using tonight, and it's all audio driven. There's not much visuals there, so it's all audio pretty much. And so you can join by either the computer, like some of you are doing tonight, or by calling in on the phone. And you can find all of our discussion groups on the Hadley website. And I'll keep giving that website over and over. It's hadley.edu. So discussion groups are the number one thing. Remember, I said we have three things. The second thing that we offer is our Hadley Presents podcast. And these are interviews. And a lot of you may have listened to podcasts before. This is very much the podcast format, and it's an interview. And we like to call this a conversation with the expert. And our podcast is pretty new, but they've been really well attended. It's hosted by Ricky Inger. She's pretty well known in the blindness community. She's our interviewer. And we've had, my goodness, Joe Strechay from Apple TV. He's one of the producers on there and talks about audio description and all the audio described there. We've had Frank Bruni, who is from the New York Times. He's a writer for the New York Times there. We've had somebody on from Jerry McCurry on from Microsoft to talk about all the ease of access features that are built into it. Jonathan Mosen from IRA. It's a great podcast, and you can either listen to the archived podcast on the Hadley website, or you can simply go to your favorite podcatcher and actually listen to Hadley Presents on iTunes or Spotify or the such. So we have discussion groups. That's one. Our podcast is two. The big thing we have, the biggest thing, our biggest draw is actually our instructional video series. And what these instructional videos are, they're step-by-step, like I said earlier, step-by-step tutorials for people with low vision. And they range anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes each. And like I said, it's like YouTube for people with low vision. And I'll talk a little bit more in depth about our videos in just a bit. Just wanted to sort of scratch the surface on our three things. So we have discussion groups, we have our podcasts, and then we have our instructional videos. We actually call those instructional videos workshops. So I'll go back and forth between calling them workshops and videos tonight. So all of that is on the Hadley website. And like I said earlier, every single bit of it is absolutely free of charge. So why instructional videos, right? I've had people ask me that over and over. Well, I'm legally blind, or I'm blind, why would I need a video? Just audio. But actually, a lot of you know, 80% of people with blindness actually have some usable vision. So if you have that usable vision, you're going to want to use it, right? So we do everything in video format. However, we make sure that everything's audio driven first. So even if you have no vision at all, you're going to get the same information out of just listening to the videos as you do with watching the videos. All right, so if videos not your thing, right? Well, number one, our video player is totally accessible. All the buttons are clearly labeled. Everything we have is closed captions. So if you happen to have a hearing impairment, that's there as well. We actually have a button that you can click that pulls up an on-screen transcript. So you can actually read along with the tutorials or with the videos. And a really cool thing about our media player is that you can actually speed it up or slow it down. And you can watch these videos, of course, as many times as you like. But if video is not your thing, we also have downloadable transcripts underneath each video. So you could actually download a hard copy if you want to, again, if you have hearing difficulties or you want to use refreshable braille with that or something of the sort. We also offer large print and braille quick start guides for each one of our videos. And these are just the steps for how to do things. And to get the quick start guides, you actually call Hadley. And I can give I'll give the number now, but I'll also give it at the very end. So that number to call Hadley is 800, which is a toll-free number, 323-4238. So these quick start tutorials are really cool. Sort of like a quick start you get if you get a new product, kind of the quick steps on getting going with it. Well, this is the quick start guide. And along with the quick start guide, you get an MP3 audio file to go with that. So you could play that on your NLS cartridge if you have an NLS player. So that's really cool as well. So where do we get all this, right? On the Hadley website. The discussion groups, the podcast, the workshop. Well, let's take a look at, go ahead and take a look at our website here. And again, there we are at hadley.edu. Now, you get all three of these things on the website. I tell you, something that I didn't mention was that we do have these videos, but how many? We used to have 176 courses, and we broke all those up. We made all these small videos. We have over 500 workshops or videos now. So, let the binge watching begin, right? So you can go there and you can binge to your heart's delight. So our website is, again, super accessible. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to zoom in on it here, and we'll talk about how to get started on our website, because we have we're really proud of our website because it's brand new, and it's totally accessible, and it's really easy to get going. We have some great features in it that I'm going to talk to you about. So how do you get started on our website? Well, down in the bottom left corner of our website there, as you can see, there's a Get Started button. That's what you do. You click on the Get Started button. But there's another cool button right down in the bottom right-hand corner that says Help. That's always there and ready for you. And if you click on that, it brings up that phone number. So you can either call Hadley or you can start chatting with a real person right there on the computer, and ask questions if you need to. So if you have questions about anything on our website, you have a real person that you're interacting with. It's not like a robot or something. So, and our website is totally customized, really of our website. So once you click that Get Started button, it brings you up to a screen that gives you some choices on choosing the contrast that works best for you. So you can choose black text on a white background. There's white text on a black background, kind of an amber text on black, or amber on blue. Kind of have problems with all the glare on a screen, so I typically choose the amber on black there. So if I were to click that, I would get a little next button that you see there. So I click that next button, and it instantly changes to that amber on black there. Yeah, and what you have here are you have three choices of size. So you can choose the small size, the medium size, or a large size. How about let's choose the large size here. Again, you get a little next button that pops up. And if you choose that, you're instantly on the website, and everything is customized just for your visual impairment. And then you can start browsing through all of our great content there. Now, we have things broken up into we call domains. We have daily living and everything that's associated with daily living. And I'll talk about a little more in depth about a couple of these domains in just a minute. But we have daily living. We have an area that talks about how to adjust to vision loss if you're new to vision loss. We have a recreation area, really cool stuff there. Technology area, it's full of cool technology stuff. A Braille area where you can actually go on and learn Braille right there online. And we have a working area. Okay, now to view, and when you get this far signed up, you can look at little snippets of information, but to totally save your customization and everything, you'll want to really put in your email address and kind of pick a password so that when you come back, everything's saved just for you. Now, when you do your email address and password, well, this is kind of a screen that you get. You get your own homepage when you log back on, which is really cool. So everything is personalized on your homepage just for you. You see my name, Douglas, is up there. Your contrast stays saved, your text size that you like, and you can change this contrast or text size anytime you want to. So if you want it a little smaller, or you want to try a different text size, you can go right through the help up there and change all that. You can actually resume watching right where you left off. If you're in the middle of a video, you could stop and resume and pick up right where you left off. Any discussion groups that you sign up for, it's going to tell you when they're next going to meet right here when you log in too. So it's really, really cool stuff. So you're really going to want to log in. Hadley doesn't sell your information or anything. It's all solely to be able to save all your stuff. And it also saves all of the workshops that you've completed, so you know what you've done, where you want to pick back up from and all that. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of these domains. We'll dig in a little bit. We'll start with technology here, which is my baby. I actually have a lot of, I've been the content creator for all of our Apple content. So you'll hear my voice over and over in all these videos. We actually have more than 80 videos that teach how to use everything Apple that you can imagine. We have an iPhone, iPad area, and you can learn about the low vision features that are built into your iPhone or your iPad. Everything from the built-in magnifier to how to use the magnification feature Zoom that's built into it. We have an Exploring the Device series. That's a series of videos that teach all about how to use the screen reader voiceover that's built into it. We have a communications area that teaches you how to make phone calls, how to do text messaging, emails. We have a web browsing area there that teaches you how to navigate Safari, which is your web browser there, how to do bookmarking. You can learn about everyday tasks, like how to use the voice memos, how to set a timer, how to check the weather, reading, using the Books app, writing. Actually, one of the most challenging things, I think, for a lot of people, especially if they're using VoiceOver, is that on-screen keyboard. So we have a video that teaches just how to use that on-screen keyboard. We have a Siri series that teaches you how to use all the different aspects of Siri, entertainment, so you can learn how to use the music player, how to download audio-described movies from iTunes. Really great stuff. So you can tell that's my passion is the iPhone stuff. We also have an Android series, and it teaches how to use the low vision as well as the screen reader that's built into any Android phone. And we have a Windows series that teaches how to use all of the assistive technology that's built into any Windows PC as well. And again, we have Apple Watch, Apple TV. We have, under our technology, a series that teaches you how to use the NLS Talking Books, how to download from Bard, how to transfer those books over to a cartridge, and how to totally use your digital talking book player there as well. So a lot of technology, even things like third-party apps. Someone mentioned earlier that they'd like to learn more about the platform we're using tonight, which is Zoom. Well, we actually have a series that teaches you how to use Zoom and Seeing AI and apps like the Voice Stream Reader app. So a lot just under technology. And we have the same amount of stuff under all of these domains. But we've been really fortunate to have developed partnerships with Apple, Google, and Microsoft. So what they say to us is, we know how to build products with all the accessibility built into it, but we don't know how to teach it. So they actually have approached us, and we've created this content hand in hand with the tech companies. So some really cool stuff there. And just under the domain of technology, you could probably binge watch all night long, more than that, a couple of days worth there. So, but we'll move on. Actually, what I'm going to show you, this is kind of an example of one of our workshops. This one I think is iPhone 10 voiceover gestures. The voiceover gestures changed when iPhone 10 came along, but this is still relevant for the 11 and 12. Now, ordinarily the closed caption wouldn't be up here, but this is just to show you guys that we do have closed captioning. Usually it's default turned off, but you can just click on it and turn it on right there. So how about we just listen to just a few seconds of this, just to give you an idea of what you'd be getting into if you watch some of our videos here. So I'll let this play out. Hello, my name is Douglas Walker. Today we will be checking out our new iPhone 10 voiceover gestures. Now, if we don't already know, our iPhone 10 is our first iPhone that no longer has our home button. So this has really changed the way that we'll interact with our device. The fact that we no longer have a home button changes the way that we'll launch Siri. It also changes the way that we'll access our accessibility shortcuts, as well as how we will close any of our open apps. We've also been giving you voiceover gestures for how we'll activate our control center, our notification center, as well as our app switcher. Now, this might seem like a lot of changes, and it is. However, our new voiceover gestures really are quite intuitive, and it really doesn't take that long to forget that we ever had a home button. All right, how about we jump right in? All right, okay, so that's just a small sample of what you get, and you actually see me interacting with our phone. Now, since I'm the co-director of research and development, we're always trying to change things. Our new videos, we're redoing all of our Apple videos right now. They're all current with the latest iOS, but we're redoing them. You're actually going to see like an animated hand up there, and we'll have the ability to zoom in so you can actually see the iPhone screen as we interact with it. So that's kind of cool. We're excited about all that. I'm going to quickly talk about another, or probably our second most popular domain here, and this is our daily living domain. Some really cool series here. Under each one of these series that I talk about, there's several videos. So we have a staying connected series, and it actually talks how to touch dial properly on your phone, because sometimes it can be really slow, especially if you're new to vision loss, actually dialing a standard phone. Well, there's a workshop for that. There's a workshop on signing your name. And that may sound strange, but how to use a template or something to sign your name, and we also have how to take notes and stuff. So there's all kinds of resources with each one of these videos. We have a dining out series that talks about how to deal with menus in a restaurant, how to order at a fast food place by using either a telescope, hand magnifiers and such. And I think there's even a video in that talks about how to organize your money and actually pay your bill in a restaurant, because sometimes that could be challenging, especially if you're in a really dim lit restaurant. We have a cooking series that has all kinds of tips in the kitchen. Talks about some really cool gadgets, accessible gadgets for people with low vision that you can use in the kitchen. One that I really like that was it's really amazing is that we have a video called "Is It Done?" So for me, telling if meat is done is one of the hardest things. Well, we have a video that walks you through exactly how to be able to tell different kinds of meat and if they're done or not. Under daily living, we have a labeling series that talks about the most efficient ways to label in the kitchen, how to organize your closet, label things in your closet, how to label things in the bathroom, like really cool things about labeling your conditioners and your shampoos and stuff. For the ladies, we have a makeup series of videos for actually applying, lipstick with low vision and mascara and stuff like that. We have a women's personal care as well as a men's personal care series, a home repair series, a magnifier series for choosing the best desktop video magnifier and such for yourself. So there's, and the daily living area, just like the technology area, just goes on and on. I've just scratched the surface with all the different series that we have there. So you're really going to want to check out all the stuff on our daily living series here. All right, a couple more things here I want to touch on real quick. We have much, much more. Remember, I mentioned all those other series earlier. Just wanted to briefly touch on these. And these are different domains. And remember, there are tons of videos under each domain. We have a really powerful series that's about to come out. It's called Adjusting to Vision Loss. And it's very, you know, because sometimes that's really hard to deal with. A lot of times it is. And so there's actually a workshop called Coping with Vision Loss. This is for people, not just for people that are new to vision loss, because we actually put this out before a panel, and several of our panel members sort of field testing it said, man, I wish I had heard these things, you know, when I first lost my vision. And so it's a pretty powerful series. There's a video called Tools for Talking About Vision Loss. And there's actually a video just for the caregiver, for the spouse, partner, children of somebody with a visual impairment. And then there's a video that I really love called Asking for and Turning Down Help. Because when you're visually impaired, that's so tough to know how and when and what's appropriate and stuff. So this is going to be a really powerful series. And like I said, it's probably going to come out in the next month and a half. We have a recreation domain that talks about accessible board games, how to make your board games accessible if you already have them, accessible card games, really cool yard games that are accessible. We talk about swimming and things for people with blindness and low vision that can really help them in a swimming environment. Biking, if you're still into biking in low vision, we have a video for that. Skiing and all that stuff. Not much skiing going on here, but in Chicago there is, I guess, or around. But we also have a Braille domain. And, you know, when people think of Braille, they really don't think of learning Braille visually. You can go right to our website, and it's called Braille for Visual Learners. And so if you're thinking you want to learn Braille, it might be a good place if you have enough vision to start and really sort of check it out, because it's free and you can go at your own pace and kind of move through each video and sort of learn about Braille. But we also have, if you're ready, we have a Braille for tactile learners. So if you're ready to learn it tactily, we have that for you. Now that still goes through the mail because it's kind of hard to do Braille tactily on your computer. We have a working domain. So that talks about running your own business, staying employed, and then gaining employment. So that's the rest of the domains that we have, with tons of videos under each one of those domains. Like I said, over 500 videos. So you can find something to watch there for sure. So who's watching? Well, we call our people that watch our videos Hadley learners. So as soon as you guys go on there and click, well, guess what? You're a Hadley learner. You're one of us, and you can start binge watching today because it's free. We've heard a lot from teachers of the visually impaired who use our videos to learn and to teach their students, or they simply take our videos and work alongside the video with their students. University prep programs, I know Vanderbilt uses it, and several other universities use our videos. Technology access centers, we've heard from them from all over the US. Vocational rehabilitation agencies use our videos to help train their clients and keep them employed. But nearest and dearest to my heart is the Veterans Administration uses our videos to train the blinded veterans on how to use, especially the iPhones and Apple devices. So what they're saying, this is actually a quote from a blinded veteran, and I'll go ahead and just read this to you. It says, "I consider your instructional videos to be equal to, and in some instances better than, chairside training by an instructor. Please keep them coming. and this is a blinded veteran. Actually, this is a 92-year-old blinded veteran that learned to use his iPhone by watching our videos. So I made it through that without getting choked up that time, which is it's unusual. All right, and last but not least, okay, so that just about does it. So yeah, I appreciate you guys having me out, and I would love to come back and really dive maybe in a little deeper in these different domains and these different areas, and see you guys again for the third time, right? So Susan,
Right.
Renee, thank you so much.
We'd love to ask if there's any questions anybody has. Can unmute yourselves, I think. Yeah.
This was wonderful. I mean,
Thank you.
There's a whole lot more there than I realized.
Yeah.
And I mean, wow. I'll definitely be binge watching. You know?
Please do. Well, when people think of Hadley, they think of the old coursework that we used to have. And
Right.
we're really trying to get the word out. And since all the conferences were shut down mainly this year, it's been kind of hard. But yeah, so if you could spread the word, it would be great. We're all new at Hadley, and we're really excited. And if you go and you binge watch everything, Susan, go back, because we're adding a whole Amazon Echo series that's in production right now, because we're work with Amazon, and a Google Docs series that talks about all the aspects of Google Docs. So we're constantly adding and constantly updating. So when the new iOS comes out or the new Android comes out, we make sure that we're up to date with all that stuff. So
well, that brings up a good point. I was wondering if when you all do have something new, is there like an email system or
yeah, and that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. The beauty of having your own homepage, when you sign up, anytime there's things that are relevant, or if we start seeing trends and stuff that you like. If you sign up for discussion groups, you get an email alert anytime there's a new discussion group that's going to happen, and you get updates on things that are updated on the website and new things. You get newsletters and the email and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so you get an email and you can click right there and go right into a Zoom discussion group. The discussion groups are phenomenal, and we really feel strongly about building a sense of community. And so that's something Hadley didn't have in the past. And so these discussion groups they become very tight, even though you can have 50 to 100 people in one of them, the larger ones, still you start seeing the same faces in there and stuff. So it's kind of nice making connections with people that way.
Right.
John, did you have a question? I think if you'll unmute yourself, I think, John, you can ask your question. John, do you know how to unmute yourself? John, I think if you'll hit Alt-A on your screen, you'll be able to unmute yourself. I still can't hear you, and I just am not able to unmute you from here. Doug, I'm not sure you can help me navigate John's challenge. He's got a question for you, but he just doesn't seem to be able to unmute his line.
What does he need to press?
Alt-A is how you can unmute. So hit the ALT button, which is right next to your space bar, to the right of your space bar, and then the letter A, which is right next to your caps lock.
Okay, I'm going to write it down. He is hearing impaired, and I'm going to write it.
I don't know if I could maybe make him a co-host, I might be able to unmute him as well.
You probably could, or have that ability.
Yeah.
I thought I would write a note and put it up in front of my camera and see if he saw it.
Yeah, I can't. Nope, that won't allow it to unmute.
Press Alt-A.
Yeah.
Okay. Is all of that showing?
I don't know if he can see it or not.
Okay.
I think he's seeing it now. Susan, do you know how to reach John? Oh, I've got John's email. You know what?
Yeah, email.
Douglas, I'll reach out to John and I'll
Okay.
find out his question, and then
Please
we'll
do.
get.
You can email me, anybody here. I should give my email address, right? My email address at Hadley is Walker, WALKER, @hadley.edu.
And then I think Melinda also has a question. Melinda, hi.
Hi. I'm here because I recently have been, well, I have a rare disease which has caused my vision, I'm sorry, I'm thinking too fast. One of my ophthalmologists thinks that that's causing my vision changes. And so I have problems with both my retina and my optic nerve, and so I have the central vision problems. So it was recommended to me to go to Hadley, and because I'd been asked at work what types of resources would be beneficial to me to use with the laptop that I'm working on.
Right.
Or well, I'm working from home, so right now. And so I wanted first to comment, I was very excited to see the resources that were at Hadley, because I did find some things that were very beneficial. One thing that I don't know if it's there, and if it is, I haven't found it yet, is something that talks about how to investigate at work. How do I have that conversation? Who do I have that conversation with to find out what's available to me? I don't even know enough to know what to ask or who to ask.
Well, and I tell you that one of the areas that's probably our least developed area right now is our work area under that. But that is actually one of, actually everything we do starts with a task analysis, and then it's written into a script and then made into a video. It's a big giant process. Right. I do know that there is a workshop being worked on right now about having those conversations in the work environment, to talking about the things that you might need and how to address people at work. We do have that coming. It's not live now, but that is something that's coming, and it'll fall under the work area. It may even be part of the adjustment series that you heard me mention that's coming soon too. So that's coming. It's not there yet, but that is kind of a weird area to navigate, is how to bring up things in the, to your employer and stuff. So it's coming. That's like I said earlier, keep checking back, because we're constantly adding stuff.
I will. And I do appreciate what is there, because it has helped immensely.
Thank you so much. That is really nice to hear. Great. Thank you.
And Melinda, I might add that the Tennessee Vocational Rehab, I don't know if through the state, I don't know if you've been in touch with them, but and I'm not sure exactly what they are doing right now because of COVID, but they can come to your workplace and assess and make recommendations. And a lot of times the state will supply what's needed.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure. And if you want to email me later, I'll be happy to find someone at the state for you to get in touch with.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's susanfreeze@gmail.com. SUSANFREEZE.
Ah, good. Okay.
Okay, great.
I think that may be all of our questions, unless I'm missing a hand. I think I've got everything. Susan?
Okay. Well, I so appreciate everyone that's shown up for this meeting. And one thing I would like to mention, I don't know if you all have checked into the foundation's retina tracker, but I highly recommend it. I highly recommend you finding out the name of the gene that's defective. I was shocked. I had my gene testing done last fall, and come to find out, the mine is USH2A, which if anyone follows them, you'd think, wait a minute, that's an Usher's syndrome, and it is. However, I do not have the hearing loss. And in saying that, I have now been following the research, and there is a clinical trial out there that I am closely watching. So all of that in a nutshell to say how important it is for you to find out what gene is defective, and there may be a clinical trial going on currently. So
I've got multiple genes.
I'm sorry?
I've got multiple genes because I had mine done last year.
Uh-huh.
And I can't remember exactly which ones they are, but there's more than one. So
Yeah, well, with the Ushers, there are two of them. One affects the hearing and one affects the vision. But
I know it's not that. So
yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, so you know that you know what to follow though. That's
yeah.
the main thing. So because if I had not done it, I wouldn't have known, and so forth, so on. So I just wanted to bring that up, Renee. I don't have anything else. Once again, I appreciate it, and we will be meeting in next quarter. And Vision Walk is around the corner. I encourage you to go out there and sign up, and let's get some money raised for some more research. Great.
Thank you,
All right.
Douglas. We
Thank you,
appreciate you
Douglas.
being with us.
Great.
Yes,
Thank you so much
thank
for
you.
having me. I appreciate you guys.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
all.
you.
Bye.